Hey everybody, week 2 is here. College football, we got week 2 going on. We're gonna go ahead and get into some of these games. First game up is actually tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. It's an early game. We got Vanderbilt taking on Wake Forest at Wake Forest. This is an interesting game to me because Wake, even though they don't have Sam Hartman anymore, their offense looked really, really, really good last week. Quarterback threw for over 300 yards, 3 TDs, had a receiver over 100 yards. Now, the problem with Wake Forest right now is there's nobody that can rush the ball really good for them. I don't think anybody had over 50 yards rushing. They had multiple people rushing. They ended the game with, I think, 93 rushing yards. But to me, and just to make this short, I am going to go Wake Forest on this one. I don't think Vandy gets it done. I think the streak, their little celebration they had, their little winning streak, comes to an end this weekend. And I got Wake Forest taking it home. What about you, Drew?
It's gonna be a weird one for me. I think Wake Forest having a new starting quarterback is gonna be interesting. It's gonna be his third start going into this game right here. I think Vandy's actually gonna be able to get him in a little bit of disguise coverage, get him off his feet. I know I've watched some notes on him. They say he kind of holds the ball a little bit too long, so I think Vandy can benefit from that. So I actually want to see Vandy pull this one out. I want to see them keep their little win streak going on. I want to see Vandy pull this one out. What you think, Sean?
Man, look, I'm gonna keep it short and simple. I got Vanderbilt from the beginning of the season going, starting the season 4-0, which means that is a W against Wake Forest tomorrow. So let's go, Commodores. Come on, let's go anchor down. Let's go.
Yeah. All right. Next up, coming up at the noon slot, we got Georgia at home taking on Ball State. I think Georgia is going to continue to roll. They're kind of sharpening their knobs. These are just starting their season off with two very easy games. I got Georgia winning big over Ball State on for noon tomorrow.
Oh yeah, Georgia right there with the biggest cupcake schedule of 2023. We're gonna keep this win streak rolling with Ball right here. Gonna get this one easy. I'm gonna give Georgia a big win against Ball. Keep it going quick.
Same here. Listen, Ball State may kick a field goal, maybe kick a field goal. We still don't know what Georgia really is. I can't wait to see who they really are, but it's not going to happen this weekend. So, yeah, Georgia with the big dub.
All right. Right after that, 3 o'clock slot on ESPN Plus, we got Kentucky at home against Eastern Kentucky. I think this is another game for Kentucky where they are kind of doing the same thing as Georgia right now, starting off the season with two easy games, get everything kind of rolling, figure out who your playmakers are, figure out who you can trust going down the stretch. I got Kentucky in a win right here over Eastern Kentucky. What about you, Drew?
I'm right there with you. I got Kentucky in this win. I think Devin Leary looked good in his first couple games with Kentucky. So I think we just got to keep things pushing, keep the offense on a high note, keep things getting better and better and better as the season goes on because they're going to have some tough matches coming up in the next couple weeks. So I got Kentucky on a good one, about 20-point victory.
Yep, same here. I got Kentucky winning this game. I wouldn't be surprised if it's not a little interesting in the first couple of drives. I still think Kentucky may be a little flat, but they'll pull away. It'll be a big win. Yeah, you're right, Drew. It'll be at least a 20-point dub for Kentucky, but they will probably come out a little sloppy.
All right, we're going to skip the next one for one of our games of the week, and now we're going straight into Texas A&M going to Miami. I'll tell you one thing. I was very surprised at how well Texas A&M played last week. I know it was versus easy opponent in New Mexico, but that Connor Weidman put up great numbers. Evan Stewart still looks like a top wide receiver in this conference this season. I think they're going to put up big numbers again. I honestly don't think this game is going to be close. You look at Tyler Van Dyke, didn't really show anything last week in their opener. I got Texas A&M actually winning this game big, probably plus 20 right now. What about you, Drew?
I'm right there with you. I got Texas A&M taking this one home. I don't think it's going to be big, though. I think it's going to be maybe more like a 1 touchdown, 10-point victory, which I think will still be solid in Texas A&M favor. I think when you look at their offense, though, I still want to see their stars shine. Like I said, Texas A&M is one of my sleeper teams this year in the conference. I think they're going to play very well. This is the time for them to show their dominance in the trenches. So I think I want to see their stars shine and great trench play. Texas A&M by 10.
So I like Texas A&M and Miami are like almost to me like similar, like the same team.
Yeah.
First of all, they didn't. Neither one of them played nobody, and we don't know who they are. Right? I still don't know what Bobby Petrino's thumbprint on the offense of A&M really is. I still don't really know how Mario Cristobal is really fitting in at Miami. He's supposed to, he's a Saban disciple and all this and that or whatever, but I really hadn't seen much. So I don't know. I got A&M with the win with you. I'm with you, Drew. 7-10 points. Probably the game's gonna be close because I still honestly don't know whether either of these teams are really any good yet.
I'm right there with y'all. Now moving on to the next one, we got Arkansas at home against Kent State. I think this is another game where Arkansas is getting right. I think they're still gearing up like the beginning of the last season where KJ Jefferson's doing his thing. Offense should be going good. Defense is playing well. It's another easy game for them. I got Arkansas winning big. What about you, Drew?
Right there with you. I want to see Arkansas's quarterback, KJ Jefferson, really do something big in this game. I want to see him have a Heisman type performance. Maybe putting up maybe 4 touchdowns, 300 yards total, because you got a rushing ability. And I just really want to see Arkansas put their dominance out early, get their backups in late, and really to see them cruise through these next couple of weeks. Because LSU is coming in 2 weeks, so I really want to see them in their prime performance wise. So this game right here is a good test for them.
Yeah, I'm with you too. KJ Jefferson, he just needs another. This is a cupcake. They should be able to dominate. I want to see more out of Raheem Sanders from the running back position. When you're playing a cupcake, week one, you should be able to. I mean, he scored twice, but he didn't. In the red zone, but he didn't really do much. I need that offensive line to give me some push. They're gonna win the game. But if Arkansas is going to be for real, I need more from their offensive line. I really do. KJ's going to be there. Jaden Wilson, their leading wide receiver, he's going to be there. But I need a running game for Arkansas. It needs to show up tomorrow.
I hear you. Next game on the slate right now, we got Tennessee at home against Austin Peay. I'll tell you what, Tennessee last week just kind of it was a close game until halftime. Kind of like they kind of started kind of slow, a little feeling out process. And also, I think at the same time, Tennessee is trying to hold stuff in the chamber. You don't want to show everything that you got right out the gate, especially against these little teams that you can get past with just your basic offense or basic defense. Still don't know if I've seen what I need to see from Joe Milton, but Tennessee rolls strong. They're gonna get this win tomorrow. It's gonna be a big score game.
Right there with you. I think Tennessee's going to walk away with this one pretty easily. I want to see them right there be a little bit more efficient than I saw them in that first game. I feel like the first game wasn't as smooth as you want to be. I know it's Virginia. I know Virginia had a lot to fight for in that first game. They didn't want to come over there on their back. But I think this week for Tennessee, I see them connect on the deep ball more than they did last year. I kind of want them to show off a little bit. I know they're trying to keep things in the chamber, but showing off is something that this game is meant for. This game right here is the most put up points, get our offense flowing. I want to see that for Tennessee this week.
Sure enough, listen, y'all know Tennessee. I got Tennessee picked to win the East. If that's gonna happen, absolutely, they're gonna have to, continue their dominance. Drew, I'm with you. They cannot. They need to open things up and show that I can destroy teams like the Bamas and the Georgias do early in the season. They need to be in destroy mode. Their stats need to be like, Madden type stats, that kind of thing. I think they can do it. We need to know if Milton can connect on the deep ball, like you said, Drew. If he does that, hey, sky's still the limit. Tennessee, the train is still moving. Let's go with a W. Big one, too. Big one.
Gotcha. All right, next on the slate, we have Missouri at home against Middle Tennessee. I think this is another feeling out game for Missouri, trying to figure out who they are, who are the guys they can depend on. A lot like what's going on at Kentucky right now. I have Missouri winning this one. I think it won't be a blowout, but I think it will be a comfortable game for them.
I'm right there with you. I got Missouri in this one. This is kind of a cupcake game for Missouri. I want to see their offense put up some points, though. I think the last game right there, they really didn't score as much as I really wanted them to do offensively. Defense still looks solid. They didn't look like they fell off too much, but I want to see the offense put up at least 30-something points this game right here. So it's going to be interesting for Missouri. Keep an eye on them.
So yeah, so this is really interesting. I've got Missouri with the W, but because Middle Tennessee played Bama last week, I always love these games where you got two teams in the same conference that have a common opponent at around the same time. Bama, of course, destroyed Middle Tennessee. Personally, in the conference that Middle Tennessee is in, I think they're a good team. I actually like their coach a lot. He got a lot of fire to him, and he honestly did not, even though they got their butts kicked by Bama, homeboy didn't back down. You know what I'm saying? He didn't back down. I think he's going to actually keep this game relatively close, probably until the fourth quarter. Missouri with the W. I need them to win this game big because it's an SEC opponent against basically a nobody. But I got a feeling that Middle Tennessee is going to keep this game a little closer than Missouri wants it to be kept. But I do have Missouri with the W.
All right, next up we got LSU at home against Grambling. This is definitely a get right week for LSU. You want to get the offense flowing a little bit more comfortably. You want to get the play calls in a little bit more comfortably on offense. You definitely want to get Jaden Daniels comfortable with his weapons that he's got. You want that comfort level going forward with him because now you're right after this game, you're heading straight into SEC play. You got to go on the road to Mississippi State, who opened the season pretty strong. I got LSU's going to win this one pretty good, pretty easily. But one thing I do want to see out of this game is for them to be more. I want to see comfortable. That's my key word for this game. Get comfortable with who you are, so that way going forward, you don't have to end up with another situation where you're just sitting back and you're kind of lost in a football game. You can come in, know who you are, know what you want to do, and establish that on a very inferior opponent in Grambling and come out with this win.
Right there with you. I think this game right here is meant for LSU to really put on the stars in their performance. I really want to see them just get their act together. Last week was very disappointing. I'm a Bama fan, so I hate LSU completely. I would love to see them lose again. But for SEC momentum, I definitely want to see them put their foot to the throats of Grambling and do what they got to do. Jaden Daniels, I need to have more competitive offense. Do a better job at that right there. Let's get this thing under control. Yo, mute, Sean.
All right, little interruption right there. Sean, give me your input on this LSU game for this weekend.
Yeah, no doubt, man. So listen, perfect time. LSU just stunk it up. No better opponent than Grambling to try to get your bearings back again. I got LSU very, very, very big. This could easily be 56-0 tomorrow. It needs to be 56-0 going into SEC play. So LSU with the big win against Grambling State.
Gotcha. Moving on for another night game tomorrow. We got Florida at home against McNissy. I'm guessing that's how you pronounce that. Yeah, that's I tell you what, this Florida team really stunk it up in that opening game last Thursday against Utah. I think Graham Mertz is what was kind of advertised. He wasn't anything spectacular. I thought he was going to manage the game a lot better, kind of be that passer that they're looking for instead of that runner or playmaker for them. I was surprised that they only let Etienne, who was a workhorse for them last season running the ball, he only carried it 7 times for 25 yards. Maybe there's something more to that, maybe an injury, or maybe by that time in the ball game it was a little too late to try to get into it. But I do have Florida winning this one easily. I think this is another game where you're trying to figure out who are you, what can you do effectively on offense to get points on the board later down the road in this season.
Okay, so this game right here is kind of funny to me. Worst case scenario, Florida is on a 5-game losing streak in this game right here. So they're paying this team right here. We can't even pronounce the name of them. They're paying them $500,000 to get them off of a losing streak. So I think it's going to be something that Florida could just have fun with, be joking about it. Get your stars in order. The thing I watched the last game against Utah was it didn't seem like everybody was on the same page. So I kind of just want to see everybody have fun with this game, have some swagger back, get the Gator Swamp jumping, and let's see a dub this weekend.
Man, the best thing that Florida got going on for them right now is their recruiting class next year. Okay? That's the best thing they got going on for them. Okay? Listen, they're going to beat McNeese. But listen, this team is not good. They are not good. And we'll see that this weekend. I mean, it's going to look, they playing McNeese. I'm done. Florida's going to win. I'm done.
Gotcha. All right, next one up. Mississippi State is at home facing Arizona. This is another game that's going to be interesting to see from the standpoint of Arizona went out last week and spread the ball around passing the ball. Their quarterback had a very good game passing the ball. And I think with Mississippi State taking on a lesser opponent last week to kind of get things humming, especially with a new offense that you're trying to install. They did what they needed to do last week to kind of build momentum going into this one. The thing with this is, can Mississippi State, they got to stay focused on this game, even though you got LSU the week after. You got LSU coming after this game at home. Don't get caught peaking early in the year for an SEC opponent and go ahead and take care of business. I do have I got Mississippi State winning this one. I think being at home is a big factor to them. I think Arizona coming from the West Coast over to an SEC environment is going to play a big factor, but I do have Mississippi State winning this one.
I'm right there with you, man. I got Mississippi State taking this one. I want to see Will Rogers put on a good performance against Arizona. I want to hear those cowbells ringing in that stadium. I just really want to see Mississippi State be dominant. That's my biggest thing about the SEC. You can hear me say it a lot in these prediction videos. I want to see the SEC be dominant over non-SEC opponents. And this one, I think, can be closer than what people imagine, because I really don't know what Arizona's really going to put on display. I know they're changing the offense with a couple of things, getting more in depth with it. But I think Mississippi State should win this one by at least double digits. So let's go Mississippi State.
Yep, I am there. Mississippi State with the W. I wouldn't be surprised if they're not a little sloppy, because Arizona is a team that does have some SEC caliber players on their roster. Mississippi State had a lot of turnover, of course, with the passing of Mike Leach and things of that nature, whole new systems offensively and defensively. I think it's kind of early for them to be playing a legitimate, I say legitimate, but a Power 5 team like Arizona. Is going to be close. It ain't going to be pretty, but I got Mississippi State with the W.
All right, moving on. All right, we got my team, South Carolina, taking on Furman at home. Night game in Willoughby be sold out already, got announced a couple days ago. This is a record attendance by the student section that's already got announced by the school. I'm going to take a little minute on this one. So South Carolina, after dropping the ball last week on North Carolina, I think in this game, there are some screwed stats in that North Carolina game. You got Spencer Rattler, who, while he was sacked 9 times, still completed 30 for 39, no turnovers, which is a big point of this South Carolina team on offense from last season, when we were second or either led the SEC in offensive turnovers. Don't turn the ball over. You don't throw any touchdowns, but still 30 for 39, 350 yards is big time for him. And you think, what can he do when you get him a competent O-line? Now, everything out of Columbia has been saying that when they got back to work on Sunday, they ripped apart what the O-line was trying to do. They went back to who's comfortable at what position, that we're not asking you to do too much. Who are our best 5 guys we can put up front? Like I mentioned last week, though, South Carolina does not have a running game. I would love to see somebody other than DeCarrion Joyner and Juju McDowell, who, while they might be serviceable running backs going forward, you still have a very highly rated running back coming out of the backfield in Braswell that's still sitting down there on the bench. You got Mario Anderson, who is a top running back that you brought up from the FCS level at Newberry College, that is on this team, that didn't get, neither of them got any touches last week. I think we will see them on Saturday get some touches. You got some very good offensive weapons. You got Xavier Legette, who last season, who in one game this year got more reception yards than he did all of last year combined. So you've got options. If you get him and Juice rolling on offense, you can have yourself a day. But the thing that's going to be the determining factor, and one thing I will say about the North Carolina game, in the second half, the defense did kind of wake up a little bit. You get 2 turnovers. You pressure Drake May a lot in the second half. The defense kind of got it together. Just the offense couldn't do anything at that point. The O-line, North Carolina was rushing 3 people at one time and still getting home. You can't have that happen. The thing with Furman is, and this is heading into my pick, Furman is the number 6 ranked FCS team in the country. They led the nation in turnovers defensively last year. And on top of that, their team is made up of all juniors, seniors, and graduates. So these are guys who have played a lot of football and a very experienced group. They went to Clemson last year and gave Clemson a handful in Clemson. Still lost that game 30 to, I think it was in the teens or high teens, but still, this is a very good Furman team coming to South Carolina. They are not scared of this environment. They are not scared of the South Carolina team. My pick for this is South Carolina's going to win it, but I do believe this is going to be a very much closer game than people think it's going to be. I think it's going to be a dogfight. I think they'll pull away in the second half, probably late third quarter, fourth quarter. The talent will just start playing. But this is a game for South Carolina that you have to go out and show that you are a SEC team, and you got to put your mark down and say, hey, we can't have what happened. We want to happen again. Go ahead.
Got you, man. I like your points on that one. I'm right there with you. I think South Carolina is going to win this one. But to piggyback off of you, I think you've been away from home way too long. You have not been in William Bryce Stadium at a night game. Come on now. It's going to be too overwhelming for them boys. Furman's not going to really stand a chance. I get maybe the first quarter and a half is going to be close. But these team is going to be ready to rock. My points of emphasis for Carolina, I really want to see offensive line come together. I think Furman's going to try to throw a lot of different pressures at them after seeing how the offensive line looked last week. So I think we really look at what they're going to do. I think that'll be in communication, not turning the ball over, and defense piggyback off of the second half they had last week. So South Carolina is really going to have some interesting key points in this game. I really want to see them piggyback off of some momentum with Spencer Rattler and Leggett as a wide receiver. I think that could be a dominant duo. So I think we got to put some points on the board this week, though. So I think South Carolina is going to win big, at least putting up 40, I think maybe 50 points in their first game, season opener at home, and it's a night game. Maybe Columbia, South Carolina might be jumping on the map by 11 o'clock at night. So South Carolina big.
Yeah, hey, listen, I'm gonna feel the rumble from Columbia all the way in Austin. All right. I'm gonna feel it, man. Yes, the Texas Heat, man. I think it did a number on you, brother. It ain't gonna be like this. Listen, I'll give Furman their first offensive drive to come down and score a field goal. Right, that's gonna be it. Carolina is going to blow them out. Now, talk about Carolina. I got Carolina picked to beat Georgia, during the regular season. What needs to happen is tomorrow. What needs to happen is a number 2 receiver needs to emerge. Yeah. Okay, a number 2 needs to emerge. Xavier Leggett, fantastic, lights out. That connection that he and Rattler have can be special. It could be even more special if a number 2 emerges. Let's see if we get a number 2 receiver to emerge tomorrow. That's what I'm looking for. A number 2. Number 2 receiver emerges tomorrow. Georgia gonna have all the problems they need when we get to that game. I'm looking for a number 2 receiver. Carolina, huge with the W.
Gotcha. All right, and now for the night game tomorrow night, we got Auburn traveling out to California. This is an interesting one. This Auburn team looked good last week for what it was worth. The thing with Cal is Cal wants to run the ball. They got their running back, Jaden, I think that's how you say it, Jaden Oit, rushed for 20 times for 178 yards last week. They like to run the ball. They're not looking to pass. They want to line up and go straight at you. I think that kind of plays into what Auburn wants you to do with them. I got them winning this game, and I wonder if either of y'all noticed in that Auburn game last week, they played 2 quarterbacks in that game. Like from the start of it, you got Peyton Thorne in there as your passer, but then when you get in those goal line sets, they bring Ashford in to give you another threat at that goal line. And I wonder to see how far into the season will they drag that into. I got Auburn winning this one. I think it's going to be an interesting game, but I do think they pull away and actually going to get this one to start season 2-0.
I'm gonna be quick with this one. I hate Auburn, maybe just as much as I hate LSU. Auburn's gonna win this game. I think it's the first time these teams ever met in their school history, so I think it's gonna be very interesting. Piggybacking off what you said, man, I want Auburn to really kind of iron out the quarterback position and really just kind of define that. I think the quarterback position can be dual, can be two quarterbacks all year long, but I think when you get to big important games, you're going to have to get one in rhythm more than the other. So to me, I want to see them kind of iron that position out more than they did last week. I got Auburn getting the win, maybe by 10, 15 points.
Yeah, Auburn's going to win this game. Hugh Freeze, to your point, Drew, he has to figure out the quarterback position. I'm actually a fan of Robbie Ashford. I mean, the kid, I think he scored 3 touchdowns. Now, granted, they weren't playing nobody. And, Hugh Freeze, his offensive scheme has always been very, very tricky, kind of like Lane Kiffin's, if you ask me. So, you give him a quarterback that can sit in the pocket and throw like Peyton Thorne, and a quarterback that can sometimes throw it well, but also use his feet in Robbie Ashford, I think you may have some problems. I think he's probably going to end up running with this for a little while. This may end up being his best solution throughout the course of the season, because Robbie Ashford is obviously too talented to leave off of the field. So we'll see how Hugh Freeze figures this out. But definitely Auburn, they're going to be too much for Cal, but my eyes are definitely on Auburn because I still think I can't stand them, but I still think that they're going to be somebody we're going to have to watch out for. They could have a big year.
All right, moving into our games of the week. We got 3 of them. We had 3 last week, and we're going to start off right now with Colorado at home. Colorado's in our game of the week 2 weeks in a row right now.
Who knew?
Yes. They are at home taking on Nebraska. Sold out game, first home game for Dion. And we come in nation, all of that. I tell you right now, excuse me. When the season started, this Nebraska game Nebraska was favored by 21 points in this game. Ever since the TCU game, now Colorado is a field goal favorite going into this game right now. That's a crazy swing in the spread. And I think a lot of it has to do with how Nebraska played last week. They struggled, second half, they made some questionable decisions. And I tell you what, Marcus Satterfield reared his ugly head again after leaving South Carolina in that Nebraska loss. Because I tell you, some of the play calling was atrocious. They're walking in there with the old Georgia Tech quarterback Sims. He didn't have a good game passing, through 3 interceptions, but he was their leading rusher last week with 91 rushing yards on 19 carries. Now, my pick for this game, I'm going Colorado. I'm going in Colorado big. I'm saying right now, Colorado is going to they're going to drum Nebraska. This ain't even going to be a contest by the second half. I think Nebraska has no idea what they're walking into. Matt Rule is lost as a head coach. Marcus Satterfield ain't gonna know what the heck he needs to be doing as an offensive coordinator. They both need to be out of football entirely. I'm tired of those two in particular, but Colorado's gonna keep moving on, and actually is gonna make it interesting headed into these next couple of weeks because they about to start getting into some competition. I love to see how they do playing up against Oregon and USC coming up here real fast. But I got Colorado in this one big.
I'm right there with you. I want to see Colorado piggyback off of last week. I want to see them actually be more efficient on the defensive side of the ball. I want to see them maybe tackle a little bit better. So I think they do have things they got to emphasize on. But having this home game, I mean, Colorado is going to be rocking. I think if not, Columbia is going to be rocking off the map. Colorado is going to be the biggest team rocking off the map when it comes to overall home opener, ready to roll when it comes to Deion Sanders bringing in. This team, I think, can be prime time. Before the season, before we even got to TCU, I wasn't that too high on Colorado, so I am jumping on the bandwagon when it comes to this team. I predicted originally it was maybe get 5 wins. I'm bumping that up to maybe 7 or 8 wins when it comes to this one. This one should be a show you who we are type of game. because I really don't think Nebraska can hang with them in the aspects of talent or when it comes to execution on the game. Now, my biggest point to this, I already know Travis Hunter is going to be a dog. I think he's going to have at least 2 touchdowns this game. And I'm going to give him 2 interceptions. It's going to be something to talk about because I think he's just a ball hawk. When that ball's in the air, it's not 50-50 with him. I want to see Shedeur Sanders, though, still be the quarterback he was last week. I'm a huge quarterback person. I'm somebody that loves the quarterback position. I want to see him continue in being efficient with the ball and put that ball in the end zone to lead his team to a victory. So Colorado with Deion Sanders, get them up by at least 20 points in this game. But I do want to see the defense show up bigger than it did last week.
I do have Colorado winning this game and winning it big, but my concerns are ego. Okay, that's my concerns. Now, Matt Rule has already told us that they're going to lose this game. Okay, he was asked in an interview about Deion Sanders and the Colorado Buffaloes and whether he was surprised or not as to how well they played against TCU. Matt Rule did everything that a coach is supposed to do, with the exception of defend his team. He gave Deion all these props, which are very well-deserved props, but you're the coach of Nebraska. You are the head coach. You don't give this man all this credit like that. He rolled over and died. This game is over right now. They don't even have to go. They don't even have to go. Now, Drew, your point. Colorado, defensive line, got to be better. They got to stop arm tackling, okay? Their quarterback, Jeff Sims, if he just so happens to be dangerous with his legs tomorrow, this game can be closer than Deion needs it to be, because I didn't see much tackling. I didn't see much resistance from their defense. So I'm not going to just say Colorado is just a shoe-in to blow them out. They're going to win the game. Don't know about a blowout. Nebraska, how good of a coach is Matt Rule? Are you using reverse psychology here? What are you doing to prepare your team to play against Colorado and not get embarrassed? I don't know. We'll see. It's going to be a good one. I can't wait. But I got Colorado with the W.
All right, game 2 is actually going to be an interesting one. We have Ole Miss going on the road to take on Tulane for game 2 of our game of the week. This is going to be an interesting matchup. As of right now, Tulane is on a 5-game winning streak, and they are those opponents being Cincinnati, UCF, USC in the bowl game, and then USA last Saturday. I tell you what, I'm going with Ole Miss in this one. I think they're going to be able to put their points up. I think they're going to be able to score really well. Jackson Dart played a good game last week, threw for over 330 yards, 4 TDs. I think this is going to be another kind of shootout style, but I think just the overall physicality of it is going to be the determining factor. Also, another thing is you do not want to play Lane Kiffin early in a season. That's when he kind of gets on his roll. You know, he starts those 5-0, 6-0 win streaks. The thing about Ole Miss is they don't have anybody kind of coming up. You got Georgia Tech next week at home, and then you got the Bama game. So I don't think this is a sleepwalking type of week, but I do think there will be too much for Tulane, and I think this is when Tulane finally falls, and I think it's going to be just too much offense. This might get some Lane Kiffin trickeration in this game right here. I got Ole Miss taking this one.
I'm indecisive about this game. Looking at the previews of this game, I really don't know who I want to pick, but I think piggybacking off of you, Van, if Lane Kiffin does want to have that start to his season as he usually does, he better get this win right here, because in a couple of weeks he's going to feel a loss coming with Bama. I think overall with this offense, I think with looking at it last week, there was really a duo connection that I don't know if I want to see that week in and week out. So I really want to see them be more efficient around moving the ball around to different people. I think the way that Ole Miss can dominate this game is running the ball significantly early to really get Tulane's defense in a position where they're on their heels when they do start moving fast with their offense, because Ole Miss will move fast early in this game to get them off their tilt. But my concern with this game is going to Tulane. Now, I really don't have much film on Tulane that I watched since last season, but I know they're rearing in the right direction. This is the type of game where you want to get a huge upset against the SEC opponent to kind of show people who you are. So Ole Miss is going to get their best version of Tulane, and I want to see Tulane get the best version of Ole Miss. Now, Lane Kiffin is going to have some type of offense that I don't think Tulane is going to be ready for. So I'm going to give Ole Miss the little bit of edge, but going into a hostile territory early in the season is upset alert type of territory. So I don't want to see them slip on this. So I'm going to give Ole Miss the edge, maybe by a late field goal, maybe by a late touchdown, but not by much.
Y'all, Ole Miss gonna beat the brakes off Tulane. They're gonna beat the brakes off Tulane. They had 6 running backs touch the field last week for 143 yards. They had about 12 receivers touch the field, 6 touchdowns. They had 3 quarterbacks touch the field. Listen, I guess, long story short, what Lane Kiffin is doing is showing his depth. Okay, Lane Kiffin is showing y'all what he's done in the transfer portal. Lane Kiffin is a very dangerous coach early in the season. Now, late in the season, that's maybe a different story. But right now, Tulane is catching Lane Kiffin at the wrong time. Everybody on his team is hot. Everybody is hot. Lane Kiffin is hot. Over. But they scored 73 points against Mercer. They going to put up at least 45 against Tulane. Tulane going to score some points, but I'm looking at like a 45-24 type game. Ole Miss huge in this game. Tulane goes back to what it should, out of the top 25, and go and dominate the American Conference. You don't belong in the SEC at all. Goodbye, Tulane. I'm done.
All right, big time game. Probably could possibly be one of the games of the year. We got Bama at home taking on Texas. Hey, another rematch of last season. All the smack talk, everything that was going on last year in the Texas Heat down there in Austin around you, Sean. Hey, this is now they come into Bama, they come into Tuscaloosa. Hey, it's time to put your money where your mouth is. This game is a easy call for me. Bama is going to win this one. I actually have Bama winning this game big. And this is based off of, I think Bama's offense is getting ready to catch fire, and you're really about to see what they've been working on, what they've been cooking up this offseason. I think last week, hey, it's all fun and nice. They won that game. They won it big, but I don't think they did anything special to show, hey, this is who we are this season. This week is going to be what you see. And another part of that is when watching Texas last week play against Rice, that game ended up being 37-10 at the end. But that score is not indicative to how that game looked live on TV. Texas on offense looks troublesome. They do not look smooth. They do not look like they got it all together. Maybe they were holding some stuff in the chamber. That might be fine. But they do not look like a team that's clicking on all cylinders. And I think walking into Tuscaloosa as a night game against Bama is not what you want to have, not the performance you want to have before this game coming in. Now, one thing I will give Texas credit for is their defense was flying around the field. Their defense looked good last week. I don't know if it'll be good enough for Bama, but it was Rice that they were playing with JT Daniels, who's been in college football for seems like 8-9 years now. He's just been hopping school to school. I think this is his 3rd time playing as a visitor at Texas with a different school each time. He's been everywhere. But I'll tell you what, Jalen Milroe didn't do anything too surprising last week passing the ball. Finished with 190, 194, 3 touchdowns, but only threw it 18 times. 7 carries for 48 yards and 2 touchdowns. He put up some stats, I'll tell you that. Maybe y'all can answer it because I didn't really watch. I was locked in on that disappointing Carolina game rather than the Bama game. I don't know if maybe a receiver emerged for them, but Bama's defense looked hard-hitting, flying around style defense also. I got Bama winning this one big. I don't think it'll be close after the first half. And I think Texas is going to get smacked back down and all that talk about, oh, we back, like they've been saying for years now. This is the week that it goes ahead and goes away. Go ahead, Drew.
Got you, got you. I'm gonna be on the other side of this one right here. I think this is gonna be a little bit closer game than what you think. I think Texas is ready. Now the thing is, can they actually walk it how they're talking it? That's going to be the key point to this game. Now I think when it comes to this Bama Texas matchup this year, Texas had its best chance to get its W last season. This season coming into Bryant-Denny Stadium is going to be a totally different atmosphere that they're going to face. Fast forward, we wind back to last year's game, 11 o'clock game, Central Time. Heat on 1,000. Definitely had Bama's overall expectations on a little bit different aspect where they didn't come out as sturdy as they wanted to. One thing I took from last week's game, because I know it was supposed to be a cakewalk, was their penalty-wise was lower than it was the season before. So I wanted to see that bring into this game. I want to see Jalen Milroe continue his dominance overall, controlling the offense. I think when you overall think about receivers, I think we did have a couple that emerged. Now, I think Isaiah Bond can be the deep guy, but I think we're going to need a couple deep shots with him. I don't think it's going to be the type of game where people are going to think Bama's going to be able to run all over Texas. I think they do have some SEC-type players in the middle of their defense, so they are going to be hard-hitting early in this game. Now, I don't think Texas is going to be able to withstand everything as long as Bama's going to be able to bring this heat, because I think Bama's going to have a lot to unveil in this game. It's going to be showing who we are. I think this game, to me, is going to be one of the easiest games to watch, probably in the last 5 years, mainly because I don't have Bama as a true national championship team yet. I think they have potential to get there, but this game is going to be truly just sitting on my couch, seeing what is being unveiled on both sides. I think Sharp got some things he want to unveil with Texas. I think Nick Saban got some things he want to unveil with Bama. I really want to see a hard-hitting matchup, and I want to see both teams get tested. Looking at the rest of this season, we're going to have bigger tests than this game if we want to hit all of our goals. So I want to see us take care of business. I want to see us get punched in the mouth and also punch back. And I want to see overall defensive line, offensive line be dominant in the aspects of getting things done that we need to get done. So I think it's going to be an interesting game. If I had to put a number on it, I think Bama's going to put up at least 42 points. I think we're going to get at least 14 points late to kind of get us over the hump. But I think overall it's going to look at a 42, 27, 28 type win for Bama. And I think it's going to be something late fourth quarter. You're going to see the old type of Bama that Nick Saban's been preaching. You're going to see some fourth quarter hard-hitting, running the ball, see if you can really hang with his late game. I got Bama. Roll Tide, baby. Let's get it done.
So this game means so much to the Alabama Crimson Tide. Texas is probably going to end up winning the Big 12. Okay. Texas is a good team. I'm here in Austin. I hear all this crap. You know what I'm saying? I have to listen to it. I ain't got no choice. But they got a good team. I think there are probably 9 or 10 players that are on this team that are going to be draft eligible at the end of this year. That's something Texas has not been able to say for a very long time, maybe since 2009 when Bama beat them in the national championship game. So they're talented. They got a good coach. The fan base is behind them. The problem is the game's in Tuscaloosa, and it's at night. And Nick Saban sees the game last year, even though Bama won the game, he views this game as a loss last year. Right? Because they didn't perform well at all. What I'm looking forward to seeing is Alabama's offensive line perform against Texas's defensive line. I was at the game last season and I was sitting in the end zone. So I had an opportunity to see how Sarkisian and their defensive staff, how they were stunting. They created a lot of confusion. Bryce Young did not have a lot of time to do anything in that game last year. And I'm sure Sark is going to do some of the same stuff this year. They got a defensive lineman that's better than anybody that was on the field for them last season also, okay? He's wreaking havoc out there. So, listen, this is not going to be easy. The advantages Bama have, again, is night game at home, Nick Saban. Night game at home, Nick Saban. That's where we win the game. We got to run the ball. We have to establish the run. I got a feeling that Quinn Ewers is going to have a big game. He's going to scare our secondary a little bit early. We'll make adjustments. We'll figure it out. I got 35-21, somewhere in that ballpark. Bama's going to win the game. But like you said, Drew, they're going to get punched in the mouth. They're gonna hit back. I will tell you right now, Jalen Milroe is going to have his coming out party. It's going to be very consistent, okay? He's going to show you what he can do with his legs. And he's going to be the one that we talk about after this game to say, hey, Milroe's for real, Alabama's for real. When it's all said and done, this is one of the only team in the top 5 or maybe even top 10 that's played a formidable opponent at this point in time in the season. That's going to bode very well for Alabama, not just in the polls, but from a confidence perspective. Huge game. Roll Tide all day, but it ain't going to be easy. I cannot wait to sit down with my cup in front of the TV and watch this game. This is going to be a barn burner. I got Bama 35-24.
I got you right there. My biggest thing, I'm piggybacking off of you real quick, Sean, is I do want to see a Jalen Milroe coming out party. Yeah. I think if you look at last week, he had glimpses. He put on a performance, but it was like, the type of performance are you going to say, can you do this against real teams? If this was Georgia type defense, can you do the same type of things? The things I like about Jalen Milroe that I saw last week was I saw more anticipation in his throws than I did in his first start last season going against way back. So I do think he's gotten better. This game right here is going to be a game where you got a first-round quarterback opposing of you. You got Quinn Ewers, a guy who recently, everybody say it's a big deal because he shaved off his mullet. Okay, cool. You probably should never had a mullet in the first place. So we're getting on the right track when it comes to Texas, what I'm really trying to say. So when you really look at this game, I think it's all about Bama. When you look at the questions that came on Nick Saban, when did they really start? Was last year Texas game. Bama didn't look like the old type of Bama that everybody thought they would and thought it was going to beat up that game. So that's why I think, going back to your point, Sean, Nick Saban feels this as a loss. He lost respect in this game, not the game. So this game right here is really going to be about truly dominant. I think that a lot of stuff that he's been talking about in the offseason, going through training camp, was kind of predicting this game.
Correct.
Because this game, to me, for Bama's schedule, starts an early gauntlet. Yeah, we got South Florida next week, but after that, we go Ole Miss, Mississippi State, Texas A&M, Arkansas, Tennessee, LSU. It's time to get the team right. It's time to show up. It's time to really put everything on the field when it comes tomorrow night. So I think Bama is going to do that. My biggest thing about Bama I want to see from them is a 4-quarter game.
Right.
Haven't seen one of those from Bama in a long time. Probably going back to our bowl game, which to me feels like a long time when I think about Alabama football. But overall, when it comes to this game right here, I want to see dominance. I want to see Bama winning, and I want to see Texas get an early understanding of what the SEC is truly going to look like. Even when you feel like you got a good team, you still come in here and get your ass whooped when it comes to this Bama Roll Tide. So this right here can kick off a big year for the Bama Roll Tide. I'm going to be tuned the hell in, no interruptions, and I want to see Nick Saban really bring everything he's looking to show. You got any last points, Van?
No, I think I'm good. I think this is going to be one of the most exciting Saturdays in college football. I think you got some good games to watch tomorrow. Starting early, but definitely, that Bama game is going to be a good one. I really feel like Bama's going to come out and just try to assert and say, hey, we are back. We are Bama. We are who y'all have feared us to be for years, and try to enforce their will on Texas early, especially with that offense kind of being shaky coming into this game. But I'll tell you what, thank you everybody for tuning in. This is week 2. This is going to be interesting. We're going to keep up with it. We'll give you our breaks down after this week is done. Go ahead, hit that subscribe button. Go ahead, hit that like, leave a comment. We'll get back to you. And hey, we'll catch you next time. Hey.
Horns